Yeah. Hey, everybody. All right. It is, gosh, I can't believe it's already September. It is September 15th, 2023. And I have a big surprise for you today. I've got basically the whole Esselstyn family. I've got Ann, I've got Jane, I've got Essie, and I've got Brian Hart. So, you know what, Carrie, if they're in the house, let's bring them on stage. Look at that. There they are. Woo.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Brian. You're not on here. Brian's on.
I know.
Oh. Hey, hi.
Hey.
We just got back from the grocery store. Literally, Mommy just got a whole bunch of artichokes because it's my birthday tomorrow.
Jane, are you 41?
No, I'm going to be 58.
58. Incredible. Now, Jane and Ann, what were you doing at the grocery store? Were you getting groceries for like just groceries, or was this for anything in particular?
We're getting all kinds of good things. Woo! It's going to be awesome.
You're already getting ready for plant stock. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And in the chat, let us know if you like artichokes, right? Yes or no to artichokes. I know Ann and Essie, growing up, it seemed like we had artichokes all the time with hollandaise sauce. Yes?
No, we just used to have it with.
Well, yeah, we did. But now, I like them just plain. And if you have to have a sauce, I think walnut sauce is good.
Yeah. Well, but just to let everybody know, back in the day, we would make this sauce with pure butter. And it was a family tradition back in the day. But now we've developed new family traditions that we're very, very obviously happy with. And we've been doing for Ann and Essie over 35 years.
When I first brought Brian home, one of the first meals we had around the Lazy Susan had artichokes.
Was it? I didn't remember.
And did you know how to eat them?
No, I probably had never
I
had
think
them.
you didn't. We have had more people that don't have a clue what to do when
They
they
look
get
like dinosaur food. I mean, they do. They look like dinosaurs would eat these things. Like
They look like little armadillos or something.
Oh.
But you get through the leaves and then you get to the artichoke heart. Do you love artichoke hearts, Ann and Jane and Essie and Brian?
Absolutely.
Woo!
Love them.
Favorite part.
Rip. I have a new thing that I absolutely love, and that is to get frozen artichokes and put some little frozen artichokes in my morning cereal.
Oh my
Frozen
You're taking your Ann's savory cereal bowl to the next level.
Oh, good.
Oh my God, Mommy.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be totally convinced when they try it.
As Brian calls it, the witch's brew keeps evolving.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, I don't think I've had you. I know I've had you on the podcast, but I don't know if I've had you on a Facebook Friday Live with the gang.
No, that is the first time. I'm honored. I put on my sweatshirt.
We're honored. But would you mind letting everybody know kind of what it is that's taking up your time these days with the Esselstyn Foundation and the great work that you're doing?
Yeah.
It is great work.
Absolutely. So about 5 years ago, as many of you may know, but some of you might not know, we started something called the Esselstyn Foundation, and it is a 501c3 public charity, which is supported by public donations. And we partner with existing nonprofits all over the country and sometimes even the world, so that schools, hospitals, public health initiatives, lots of different organizations and affiliations, any sort of group that's sort of nonprofit oriented. And we give all of our programming away for free, and we do virtual online education about plant-based eating, everything from the why of plant-based eating to the how. How do you do it? What are the best moves, best tricks, ways to transition, getting your family involved, all these different things. And so again, all of our programming is free. And if you reach out to the Esselstyn Foundation, we would love to partner with you. And we're really excited about plant stock coming up, and I can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, let's talk about that in just a second. I want to kind of get to PlantStock here in a little bit, but give me an example of somebody that you've partnered with recently that's been really exciting.
Fantastic.
So many.
just
choose?
just a couple of weeks ago, we partnered with Delaware Valley University, and we are doing a series of presentations to a group of physician's assistant students. So these are students that are becoming physician's assistants, and this is an opportunity for them to, and as we all know, the medical community is not so much up to date on this whole notion of plant-based eating. And so we're really helping to educate the next generation of practitioners who can go out there and who truly understand preventative medicine and the power of plant-based nutrition, and the fact that it should be something that is an option that is offered to people who have lifestyle-related diseases, and possibly to avoid all the horrible things like all the medications and operations they would have to have, versus just transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet. So that's one group. The other group we're really excited about is the Environmental Protection Association. Their office in Philadelphia, which is a regional office, have partnered with us, and we're helping them, people who work for the EPA, to get healthy.
Wow. I mean, that is
Tell about
well, that's kind of putting your values where your mouth is, the EPA, because as we all know, and we've said this many, many times, that if you're a true environmentalist, then you really need to go plant-based.
Absolutely. And you would be amazed how many people who work for the EPA are sort of not so educated about the power of plant-based nutrition and its effect on the environment, not to mention human health. And so like many people, and again, what's so exciting is that we give all this away for free for people who team up with us. So really excited about it.
And, and Brian, you do a wonderful job sending out, I think it's a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter. Weekly. Fantastic. So I think this is really great information that you're sending out. And what I love about it is it's kind of bite-sized information that is very palatable and really like, wow, I didn't know that. What's the best way that people can go and sign up for the newsletter?
Sure. So you just go to our website, www.esselstynfamilyfoundation.org, and you go to the contact spot, and it just says, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? You just check the box, and then your email goes into our list, and then we send it out. Like, we've got about 6,000 subscribers right now that we're sending it out to, and then we try to advertise it also on social media so people can have access to it that way.
And that's all free.
Free.
And then, of course, we love it when people want to contribute something.
Well, people love that 4-letter word, free, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
They do. And what we do in the newsletter, we really try to take on a lot of the little questions that come up for people who are transitioning to whole food plant-based, who are perhaps worried about their B12 levels. Will they get enough protein? What about calcium? What are some good ideas of ways to eat your leafy greens? All that stuff we covered in the newsletter.
But the newsletters are bite-sized. They're perfect, like onboarding information. They're for different learning styles. There's information, a picture, a video, and examples. It's short. It's just so digestible. Love it.
It
One
is.
of the ones that just blew my mind. Well, all of them do. I can't wait for Tuesdays to see what's coming. But one of them was how, and I didn't realize it, how, what is that oil?
Palm
oil. Palm oil is everywhere. And I hadn't even realized quite how much until this newsletter. And then I started looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's taken over.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Brian, you've educated the people at the EPA about the dangers of palm oil.
Yeah, I hope I have. I hope they've got it.
In more ways than one. Hey, Jane, I got a question for you. So who is a better chef, you or Brian?
Brian wears the crown.
No, maybe in the old days, but Jane's, she's upped her game.
Well, that's the nicest things you've ever said. Ish.
Jane, you've had lots of practice the last several years between pumping out, recipes for my book, Prevent Reverse Heart Disease. You're doing your own book. I mean, literally probably close to 750 recipes.
You, Rep.
You know, 5 books in 11 years. So yeah, we've got a lot of practice going on. But Brian has that sort of sixth sense, and he's willing to, like I kind of have a little bit of mommy in me. Like, I'll add the whole onion, I'll add the whole zucchini. Brian's like, no, this is the amount you need. This is the color you need. This is it's too. Don't add that little 1/4 cup of dressing because it's in the bottle. Keep it in the bottle. The dressing, the salad is perfectly dressed.
I am horrified at what Brian leaves on the counter.
He has good accelerator and good brakes. I'm just like all in, like mommy.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, as you've noticed, Essie has been extremely loquacious this whole time, as usual. He's such a great listener. But if any of you have a question for Essie, please throw it in there. But Essie, you know, you're going to be part of the Brock Star lineup for PLANTSTRONG that's coming up next weekend. It is our 12th annual PLANTSTRONG. We haven't missed a one since 2011, when the really iconic and incredible documentary Forks Over Knives first made its appearance in April of 2011. And I think really helped part the waves for us in the whole food plant-based kind of movement. And as you like to say, back when you and Essie were first getting started in 1984, you could fit everybody under like a small little tent, right?
Right. Even then, it might have been a challenge.
Yeah. But so next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, we're having PLANTSTRONG. It's going to be a virtual event, and we have got some of the most incredible Brock Star physicians and also chefs in the space right now. So Essie, you will be regaling us as usual with your Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease lecture. You'll also be, I think, really leaning into leafy greens that you are such a fan of. How important are leafy greens on a daily basis for people with heart disease?
Well, there's no question that everybody who has heart disease has to begin to understand the causation of the illness. And the causation is, over a period of decades, they have so sufficiently trashed, injured, compromised, and turned their endothelial system into an absolute train wreck that their endothelial system is not able to make sufficient nitric oxide, which is the magic gas that protects us all from making blockages or plaque. And it's going to be really a moment of exciting education, because once people can grasp the simple concept of the relationship between your endothelial cells lining the inside of the artery and the fact that they produce this magic gas of nitric oxide that protects us all. And the only reason that everybody on the planet Earth has cardiovascular disease is because in the previous decades, they themselves, not hereditary, not stress, they themselves have eaten the foods that have destroyed the ability of their endothelial cells to make nitric oxide.
Let me ask you this, Essie. How confident are you that if somebody comes to you with heart disease and they have been trashing their endothelial cells, they've been eating the standard American diet of, you know, all the contraband that you recommend that they eliminate, how confident are you that you can either A, prevent, or B, reverse their heart disease?
Well, with their cooperation and their willingness to do it, 100%.
100%.
Hey, Rip, Jane and I in the grocery store ran into a woman who stopped us because she recognized.
We ran into 6 people, actually.
But this person said that her sister-in-law had to have
open heart surgery.
Didn't want it. Just followed the Essie's program. She's perfect.
Well, her daughter said, "Why don't you try eating like the Esselstyns, the way that
The Esselstyns.
the way that Aunt Sharon does?" So the kid was telling her mom, "Don't have surgery. Do what funny Aunt Sharon does." So
that absolutely tickles my funny bone hearing the Esselstyn. So what are some funny ways that people have pronounced our last name? I can tell you that I had a guy in college, and he'd always take attendance, and he'd say, "Rip, a Esselstyn." He'd like add like 5 unnecessary S's. And then, of course, I had my swim buddies that were sitting next to me, and they just all giggle every time.
Esselstyn. You get Esselstyn a lot.
Esselstyn.
Esselstyn.
Eggleston.
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 By
There you
the
go.
way, I just want you to know that this so loquacious man is incredibly loquacious. If you were in our house, your ears would be just, you want to wear ear defenders because he's on the telephone all day long talking to patients.
Well, Essie, what is it they say about passion?
Oh, passion is a feeling.
Oh, you mean a passion is a feeling you feel when you feel you're about to feel a feeling you've never felt before.
And I have a feeling that you feel that passion every time you're talking to somebody about heart disease.
That's right. I keep thinking he's acting as if this is the first person he's ever said this to.
I know, it's absolutely, it's remarkable. It's so cool. So let me take a little detour here. I'm going to come right back to you guys. So also at PlantStock, one of our keynote speakers on Friday night, we're going to have Dr. Michael Greger. He will be giving a lecture on his yet to be released upcoming book. It's going to be released in December, called How Not to
Age.
He's really got a corner on that how not to, right? How not to die, how not to what?
Diet.
A diet, how not to, what was the one with the pandemic? And how not to pandemic, something like that.
Something like that.
But anyway, how not to age, like super like cool. And so he'll be doing an hour-long lecture followed by a half an hour of live Q&A. So that will be fantastic. I will be giving you guys a great about 45-minute lecture on the 7 pillars of living plant strong. Essie, prevent and reverse heart disease. That'll be live Saturday morning. Of course, you've got Jane and Ann. I mean, how has your life changed since you wrote Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior, Jane and Ann?
It has. It hasn't really changed so much as that I really like how Ann and Jane, we as women have a platform that is really beautifully sort of founded on how we eat as women. So it's a little more it's more of the same, but we get to frame it a little bit differently and things we like. And Mommy has got something for you here.
And is shucking.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wonderful
Slow
things.
down.
And this is one of the things we're going to be having: corn.
I love it. You know what? We celebrate eating plants just as chimed in to say how to survive a pandemic.
That
was Dr. Greger's book. Yeah. And I'm reading, just so you guys know, I am reading comments, and I'm going to circle back to some of these questions because Essie, I know, would love to answer some of them. So Ann and Jane, you're going to be making, I think it's 1, 2, at least 3 different appearances and making how many different recipes?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over a dozen.
Wow. Okay. That's very
easy because we tag team. So like one's making and one's cleaning up and one's, commenting.
Can we make it a baker's dozen?
Yeah.
Sure.
13.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And then, back for their second appearance at PlantStock, we have one of the most incredible rising social media sensations, Carly Bodrug. Her brand is Plant You. She is, Canadian. She's adorable. She's so approachable. We absolutely love Carly. So she'll be joining us.
I can wait.
What's that?
I can hardly wait. If we're doing something else, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to watch her.
I know. We'll all want to stay tuned for that. And of course, that will be live. We've also got on the male side, we have a very young 34-year-old sensation. He's over in the UK now. His name is Max Lamana. And he wrote a book called You Can Eat This. And the premise of it was to take 30 of the most common leftover things that rot in your refrigerator or your pantry and show people how to make incredible, delicious recipes from those ingredients.
Wow.
And he's got over 1 million followers on his Instagram. He just actually made lunch yesterday to who's the UK chef that's so hot? Jamie Oliver.
Jamie
Yeah.
Oliver.
Jamie Oliver. So you don't want to miss, Carly or Max. We're also going to bring, a lot of people are very rightfully so price conscious, and they think that eating whole food plant-based has got to be expensive, right? And it's going to break your wallet. Well, guess what? Toni Akamoto has written 2 different books. Her brand is Plant-Based on a Budget.
Yep.
And you're not going to believe what she can do for $35, $40 a week, right?
Brian
A week.
has a talk he gives that talks about her and that.
Yeah.
Well,
The foundation has be plant-based on a budget. We love that focus. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm so glad
yeah.
stop.
In addition to that, I love, speaking of Brian, I know you have a spectacular lecture called Choice Architecture.
Yep.
That really, really helps with not only, making sure that you're buying things that are affordable, but also doing things so that the healthy choice is the easy choice, as Dan Buettner would say.
Yes,
Yeah.
as we're learning more and more, environment really matters, as Dan Buettner would argue. And I think so. We have a talk at the Esselstyn Foundation called Choice Architecture, which really gets into this notion of how to set your home up for success to help yourself and the people in your house who might not be totally plant-based to make healthier food choices. Yes.
And that reminds me of, everybody hopefully knows Adam Sudd, who's made some appearances on the podcast and our Facebook lives. But, Adam has a saying that Doug Lyle said is just pure genius. And that is, make your environment look like your goals.
Exactly.
Right. So simple. We also have another social media sensation. She came out with a book recently called The Clean Vegan. She's so in alignment with, what we suggest. And Jackie Ackerberg, her book is The Clean Vegan. And she's going to make 3 incredible recipes. You guys ever heard of Kiki Nelson?
Yeah.
Kiki Nelson. Her brand is Plantifully Lean. We get a lot of plants in these names. I love it. I love it. And she's lost 70 pounds. She's kept it off. And she really was inspired by us, by McDougall, by Jeff Novick, the whole principles of calorie density that all of us love and adore, and have allowed us to eat copious amounts of food and still be lean and mean and healthy machines. Have you guys ever heard of Cameron Clements? No?
No.
She is the plant-based Cajun. And I discovered her. I was preparing for a podcast that I had with Dan Buettner about basically how America, hidden down in our culture, are all these blue zones. And he actually found Cameron Clements because she lives in Louisiana, and her brand is the Plant-Based Cajun. And so she produces all these incredible Cajun recipes that are plant-based.
Cool.
And she's going to be making 3 incredible dishes. I had this couple, or I should say this pair, on the podcast recently, Cersei Blue and Gigi Carter. And their book is The Daniels Fast, Why You Only Want to Do It Once. And they're African-American. They are trying to get as many just Black, wonderful females that basically are, they're Christian. They want to follow the tenets of the Bible, but they don't know about Genesis 1, right? And how really in the Bible it says eat, right? Eat plants. And so, and they said how, every January they would do the Daniels fast for, a couple weeks, and then they'd let everything go for the last 11 months of the year. And so let's just do this for the whole year. And so they're going to present this year. They've got incredible recipes as well. Have you guys ever heard of somebody named Chef AJ?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
AJ.
Jane, that looks like a great green dumbbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo, woo.
Do my artichoke like, biceps and triceps. But AJ is going to be, knocking it out. As you know, she just doesn't like to sit still. She's going to be whipping up 6 recipes. She says she can do it in under 40 minutes. I'm doubtful, but we'll find out if she can do this.
Jane can do too.
Oh, no. She'll do it no problem. She's a machine.
She's a machine.
She's a machine.
She is a machine.
I have never heard of such an exciting lineup. It's
I don't think he's done yet.
And I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started.
shocking.
Yeah.
Be
So
good.
have you ever heard of Kim Campbell?
Of course.
So she's married to Nelson Campbell, the son of Colin Campbell, that, obviously the China study and Forks Over Knives and one of Essie's wonderful kindred spirits. But Kim Campbell has written a book called Plant Pure Comfort Foods, and it's comfort foods from all over the world. And so she's going to be razzling and dazzling us with a few of her recipes from that book. Have you ever heard of somebody named Darshana Wendell?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's right. She changed her last name.
Thacker.
Yeah.
Darshana Thacker Wendell. Yes, she did take on Brian Wendell's last name. Brian Wendell is basically the vision behind Forks Over Knives and the producer. And he married because he wanted to make sure he always had whole plant-based foods at the ready. He married Darshana, who's an incredible.
She is spectacular. She's one of our favorite people.
Yeah. And she's, she hails from India and makes incredible foods. She wrote a cookbook called Flavor not too long ago, and it's just a bunch of the most delicious whole food plant-based recipes you can imagine. You probably haven't heard of this woman. She's Canadian. She's a registered dietitian. She's all about a healthy gut. Her book is called Good for Your Gut. Her name is Desiree Nielsen. She is so charming, so wonderful, so knowledgeable on everything to do with the gut and the microbiome. And all of her recipes in her book, she has them broken down into sections of either these recipes will protect your gut, these will heal your gut, or these are going to nurture your gut. And so she's going to be doing one from each one of those. So that'll be wonderful. You probably haven't heard of the Mississippi dude turned blogger, Shane Martin. But Shane, he used to be a football player. He's a dude's dude. And now he's all about like whole food, plant-based. He's lost like 100 pounds and he is so passionate and so into it. He's wonderful. We got to get some male chefs here in the lineup beside Max LaManna and Shane and Brian. We have Janet Verney, and she wrote a book called Health Up. She also is super passionate about gut health, and she's going to make some wonderful recipes. And then we have this new presence by a duo called the Plant Bros. I haven't heard them, I haven't seen them, but I mean, Brian, do you know anything about these guys?
Absolutely. So my good friend and partner in crime, and also well known to PLANTSTRONG, John Fitzgerald, and I have put out a few videos on YouTube called the Plant Bros, and our subtitle is, or our tagline is, two non-threatening guys talking about plant-based cooking. And so we have put together these videos we're going to present at PlantStock. We're so excited. And really what we're trying to do is make it non-threatening for men. We're just going through basic, like stick to your ribs kind of food for your average guy who wants to maybe start eating a little bit better. And so we're really excited. We've been gifted 30 minutes to talk to everybody. So the Plant Bros will be making a presentation at PlantStock. We're so thankful.
Like plants, their skills with knives are just exactly where probably everyone's skills are.
I'm not white, but last night we had one little piece of what Brian and John are going to do, and it was so fabulous.
Yeah.
Love it. And I want everybody to know that this is, to me, one of the most affordable events that we have. It's $49 for the weekend, and everybody, you get a video archive of the weekend if you're not able to watch or spend time the whole weekend. And to boot, on top of that, you're also going to get a downloadable recipe guidebook with every one of the recipes that were made over the course of the weekend, which will be somewhere between, if Chef AJ can pull it off or not, I don't know. If Jane and Ann decide to do a baker's dozen, I don't know. We're going to be sitting right around 55 to 61 recipes that you're going to get, and you'll have seen all of them made and presented, and you'll be inspired to do the same. So it'll be a spectacular weekend. And then, of course, we'll be dancing and doing stretches and exercises and doing a lot of laughing and breaking bread together.
Whole grain breads.
And Jane and Ann, where's it all going to take place from?
It's going to take place
At the Knob outside Cleveland, this spectacular place where the end of Forks Over Knives was filmed.
Exactly. Wasn't it like the second? It's the second highest point in Northeast Ohio, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brian and I
Absolutely.
were married there because this place just lives in our hearts.
It's been in our family for over 100 years.
Wow.
110.
Okay. So what I want to do, Essie, because I know you're chomping at the bit to answer some of these questions. All right. So, and if Carrie, who's our wonderful producer, if you could help me go through and highlight some of these because, you have, thank you. Because you guys, this is getting all stacked up here, but let's do this one. Okay. I've been plant-based for 8 years. Suddenly my cholesterol has elevated above 200. Any suggestions to get it back down quickly? Essie, what do you think?
Well, let's find out what she's eating.
You know, it comes down to that, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So what would you recommend that she do? Keep a little food log for a week or two?
Well, I think the things that we've always liked to try to be cautious about, of course, that are going to raise your cholesterol are oil, anything with a mother or face, animal protein, meat, fish, chicken, fowl, turkey, and eggs. Also, dairy, eliminate milk, cream, butter, cheese, ice cream, and yogurt. And be careful of sugary drinks, Diet Colas and Pepsi, and sugary foods, cakes, pies, cookies, stevia, agave, excesses of maple syrup, molasses, and honey. And be a little easy on nuts and peanut butter, nut butters, cashew sauce, and avocado.
Why do I have the feeling you've said that maybe twice before?
15 times a day.
All right, here, we got a new question for you, Essie. In one of our previous Q&As that we did at the farm, the subject of stents collapsing over time came up. Can Dr. Esselstyn elaborate a little bit more on this? What is the name of the studies, if any, that you can recall?
Well, I think increasingly what people are aware of is the fact that when you take a human coronary artery and you decide to try to lodge a bare metal stent, this is, in some people, it is enough of a foreign body that they develop a thing called neo endothelial hyperplasia. And this neo hyperplasia, just for people's understanding of it, think of it as a foreign body. And what you're getting is a reaction to this foreign body of scar tissue. And when there's enough of this reaction of scar tissue, it can actually begin to occlude and obstruct the stent. Now, what you can do sometimes in those, they can actually go in with sort of like a roto-rooter and clean out the stent, and it'll work for another period of time. But you have to remember that, I guess the real bottom line on this, if the stent is anything close to elective, it's not an emergency, because if you're having a heart attack and you're in an absolute emergency, a stent can be life-saving. But rather than do these things electively, if you simply treat the causation of the illness aggressively with whole food, plant-based nutrition, we've shown time and time again that these patients do not have to have their stent, or for that matter, even their bypass.
Great. All right, I'm going to keep them firing. Did you want to add something? Are we good?
The fact that you have to remember that the stent and the bypass have nothing whatsoever to do with the causation of the illness, which is what eating whole food, plant-based nutrition does.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. So, Essie, next question. Can eating more leafy greens and obviously whole food plant-based also help with the little ischemic strokes in the brain?
Well, there's no question that when you are eating plant-based and doing it correctly and you've got enough nitric oxide protects the arteries from becoming thick and stiff or inflamed, protects us from getting hypertension. And the whole business about protecting the brain is the same as protecting the heart. When you're eating whole food plant-based nutrition, you're not going to develop these blockages in the carotid artery going up to the brain. So it's really beautifully simplistic that when you're eating this way, you don't just heal the arteries in the heart. You're going to heal the artery in the brain, the arteries to your liver, the arteries to your intestine, the arteries to your kidneys and your legs.
Right. And we're going to come back to you, Essie, in just 1 second, but I need to take a break and ask Ann, Jane, and Brian, what did you guys have for breakfast this morning?
Oh, my cereal with artichoke hearts.
Oh,
But when you say your cereal, not everybody knows what Ann's cereal is. What is it?
Oats, turmeric,
Steel cut oats?
steel cut oats, turmeric, shiitake mushrooms. Today I had what is it?
Kale.
No, not kale. I have
Mustard green, spinach, Swiss chard.
anyway.
Dandelion greens?
grass clippings.
Little frozen artichoke hearts in water. It's great.
And hot sauce.
And hot sauce. Brian, what did you
I
have?
always have regular oats that I just zap in the microwave for a minute and a half, bunch of whatever fruit or berries we have, and maybe a handful of crushed walnuts with a little bit of maple syrup and some oat milk.
Hmm.
I always have dinner from the night before. So I literally had salad, a few bites of the meal we had last night, which was kind of a Buddha bowl kind of thing. We didn't have much left. And then I'm testing these cookies for plant stocks. So I had 2 cookies.
Jane, that sounds like the breakfast.
I like dinner for breakfast.
Yeah. Well, Jane, listen, that's legal. It's okay. So,
Well,
Jane,
it's legal, but it's better to find a way to get your some oats. In
I know.
breakfast.
But I had Buddha. I had like rice and sweet potatoes.
Jane, what kind of cookies were you eating this morning for breakfast?
Oh, it's a secret for those who plant for plant stock.
Okay. All right.
Easy teasy.
Teasy. Hey, Essie, I know this is a question that you love answering and you get it. This is a woman that says, I use a high fluoride toothpaste. Using a nitric oxide test showed that my level is low. I don't use oil and follow a whole food plant-based diet. My LDL is 100. Could the toothpaste be contributing to my low nitric oxide score?
Yeah, because remember, part of the program of getting your nitric oxide score elevated is what is really happening with the bacteria in your mouth. Because what happens when you are eating mouthwash, when you're eating toothpaste with fluoride, or having public drinking water with fluoride, the man who's done this basic research of this, Nathan Bryan, has really shown that when you have the mouthwash and you have the fluoride, whether it's in drinking water or toothpaste, you compromise the capacity of your bacteria in your mouth to convert, and for that matter, your gastric acid cannot convert into nitric oxide.
Jane and Ann, here's a question for you guys. If you had to choose between soy, rice, or oat milk, what would be your choice?
Soy milk, rice milk, or oat milk?
Yeah.
Oh, that isn't even a
I would read the
competition.
ingredients in each one.
Oat milk. Well,
Okay.
yeah, of course we read the ingredients. but
Rice milk adds oil in most.
soy is really kind of creamy and rich, and I think it's good. Like Brian adds a dash in his coffee because it makes it sort of nice and creamy. But oat is kind of my go-to for recipes. I don't drink it or use it in cereal because I have dinner for breakfast.
Right. Essie, this is a question that we get, and a lot of people wish they had this problem. Here it is. My husband has adhered very strictly to plant-based and continues to lose weight. He doesn't need to lose anymore. How can he stop losing? What can he add?
Well, he needs more calories. And one of the ways that I've found is easy to have people do this. If they, most people will really have a breakfast that they enjoy. And let me give you an example. Let's suppose that
This is his breakfast that he loves, and he would only eat it if there was no cook around.
let's
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
let's try again. So
Let's try it again without an inter.
the patient who's trouble holding their weight, if they get up at 6:30 in the morning and have a breakfast of old-fashioned Quaker oats, oat milk, raisins, banana, and raspberries, and blueberries, and strawberries, and blackberries.
Frozen or fresh.
That is an absolutely caloric, dense meal with delicious way of getting your phytonutrients. Then about 10:30 in the morning, when you begin,
do you add flaxseed?
when I'm gonna,
No interruptions.
10:30 in the
No, he
morning.
forgot the flax.
Let's try it again. At 10:30 in the morning, when you begin to get hungry, you repeat it. Well, you got to look forward to it. This absolutely delicious meal again that's going to give you all these wonderful calories and phytonutrients, and that'll resolve any weight loss problem.
And Essie, the 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal that you would put in adds calories.
Right.
So that's, he didn't mean to forget that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, so this is for anybody that wants to answer it. What's your opinion on the need for an algae-based supplement to take to get omega-3s for us whole food plant-based eaters?
Whole food plant-based eaters, supplements, that's a different conversation in my mind. But
Well, don't you feel like if you're doing the ground flaxseed meal and a handful of walnuts and leafy greens,
Yeah.
more than likely you're getting what you need?
You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always get a blood test, and it'll show whether you're optimal, borderline, or low. And if you're borderline or low, I'd encourage you to have 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal or some chia seeds and the green leafy vegetables. And if that still doesn't quite do it, then there is the omega-3 algae.
Right. So Essie, this is somebody that I have the exact same oatmeal as Essie, but I also add cauliflower rice.
getting your greens in, that's clever.
But also tell that person to try just adding greens.
Well, that's Justin.
Kale.
Well, but Ann, cauliflower rice is a green leafy,
I know, but you can also do the other.
but it's white.
It would
It's
look,
just- I know.
it would look pretty.
Way to go, cauliflower rice person.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a couple more questions than them, and then we're gonna wind it down. You guys have been so generous with your time.
You don't
Thank you, everybody.
These are in the car melting,
Melting.
outside.
I know they are. Essie, this is. Let's just try this one. I had gastric sleeve surgery 10 years ago, and I find it difficult to eat enough to get all my nutritional needs met. I have been plant-based for 5 years. Any recommendations? I'm also postmenopausal, and I'm dealing with osteoarthritis now. Hey, do you think that she's potentially not getting her nutritional needs met?
Well, you can always get your biomarkers to determine whether or not you're getting sufficient vitamins and minerals. But
Yeah.
when those patients are in difficulty because they've got a gastric sleeve, they feel full very quickly when they're eating. So what they have to do is, I think, eat multiple small meals throughout the day.
Got it. That makes a lot of.
I'll never forget the woman who, when she discovered plant-based eating after having gastric surgery, said that all she wanted to do now, because she had confidence that she could handle her eating, was to
Reverse.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because whole food plant-based does give you the confidence that you can eat healthily.
All right. Well, we're going to wind it down on the way out. Brian, Jane, Ann, Essie, do you have a word or a short little phrase that you'd like to say to people as we say goodbye?
I have never been as excited about a plant stock as I am about this one. The people, the things that you described today, Rip, are blowing my mind. I cannot wait. I'm so glad it's recorded too, in case we miss any one of them.
Well, and Ann, you know, in the years past, and the whole family knows this, it is so much work putting this on, but after it's over, we all feel so much gratitude and joy that we've been able to put on another one and reach more people with all the good news about plants.
Can't wait
worth
to
it.
come here, Rip.
Yeah. Brian, what do you got to say?
I think that in terms of like trying to sum up plant-based, I don't know. What do you want me to do?
No, any word. It could be any word. It could be a phrase. It could be, run today. Or it doesn't have to be around plant-based. It can be anything.
Okay, I'm aiming today to get a little bit of vitamin D, some sun, because in Cleveland we don't get a lot of sun for about 8 months of the year. And
Brian,
We must become the new hot
we've
spot.
only had
We're
sun.
not burning. We're not flooding.
I said 8 months a year. So right now it's a gorgeous day. It's in the low 70s, and I'm going to try to get out and get some vitamin D. So my goal for the day is vitamin D.
Love it. How about you, Jane?
I love saying onward with plants and love. Love is such an interesting weapon and cure and fix all.
I love that. And Jane and Brian, your shirt has inspired me to ask. You guys started, if I'm not mistaken, like a little merchandise company that's got all kinds of cool stuff. Is that still available if people want t-shirts, cutting boards, sweatshirts?
Some friends of ours did, and we just supported them. But yeah, plants.
Some really good friends of ours took it over, and we're very thankful for that, Mal and Paul. And so if you go to plantsonlyshop.com, they have all kinds of interesting stuff if you're interested in this, this merchandise.
Chopping boards or
Beautiful
pencils,
cutting boards and all kinds of
t-shirts,
beautiful stocking stuffers and all those things. So
Nice. Hey, Essie, how about you?
Well, it's so exciting because when I've noticed that as my career has gone on, here we are in the latter part of that career it's as if the heavens have opened and given to medicine the strongest tool for eliminating chronic illness that we've ever had.
What a great way to end, you guys. And then
a chance to get more information on what he said.
Yeah.
22nd to the 24th of September on Plant Stock.
Yeah, you'll be educated, encouraged, inspired, and you're going to make invaluable connections with your kind of people. It'll be fantastic.
And Rick, if you don't mind, I'm going to add that it's also a fundraiser for the Esselstyn Foundation. If you're able to give, we have a matching grant going on right now, where if we raise up to $50,000, all of those dollars will be matched dollar for dollar by these angel donors. And so I just want to let everyone know that that's going to happen too during Plant Stock.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, you guys have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I'm flying into Cleveland Wednesday.
Woo-hoo!
And we get to hang for about 5 days together. I can't wait. Love and adore you all. And everybody, thanks so much for tuning in on another Facebook Friday Live. And I hope to see you all next weekend at Plant Stock.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey,
Bye.
Plant Stock and Plant Strong. Woo!
Woo! All right. Bye, Rip. Thanks.
Bye.